Hi, welcome again to my YouTube channel. My name is Carlos Alejandro Gallardo, and today we're going to be talking about not Trailhead, that was my last video, but we're going to be talking a little bit about career advancement and development and how you can use Trailhead to do that. They have a very specific tab for that, and I think it's something that sometimes gets overlooked just because a lot of people come to Trailhead to learn and to discover Salesforce. But sometimes people come here because they're guided here to see if maybe they want to look into a new career path. And Trailhead is all about that. Not only is it about learning, not only is it about earning badges, but is how do you use that to advance your own career path and to move on into the world and the ecosystem of Salesforce. Um, and yeah, that's about it. So welcome to my video. So let's get started. First off, um, you need to log into your Trailhead account. The previous videos that I've made in the past, take a look at them. I'm trying to build these in a chronological order of what makes sense in terms of your facets of your Trailhead learning development. So take a look at my previous videos. I talk about how to get started with your developer edition org, what it is, how to use that to then go into your Trailhead account, and how to navigate Trailhead overall. This video is now going to talk about build upon those learning lessons and those videos to kind of teach you about where exactly you go in Trailhead to talk about career advancement. So let's get started. So once you log into Trailhead, obviously I'm in my home tab in Trailhead. I'm gonna go and click on the Credentials tab. When I click on it, it doesn't take me anywhere, but it's a drop down to Super Badges, Certifications, and Verify Certification. Let's talk about the first one. In my previous video, I said I was not gonna go too deep into Super Badges. I said I was gonna do that in my next video, but if you listen to the rest of the video, you saw that I myself had not completed a Super Badge. I'm in the process of finalizing. As you see here, I have a few super badges that I'm one module or two modules away. So once I do complete my first super badge, I'll come back and create another video to kind of talk about what are the learning lessons that I took from completing my first super badge to kind of give a high level perspective. Um, from my understanding is that once you complete a super badge, it shows that you are a specialist in a specific area. As you can see here, you can be a lighting experience specialist. And there's a couple more details within the super badge that shows that you are a specialist in those areas. In the last video, I didn't do this, but might as well do it here. What are super badges? So thankfully, Salesforce provides that. And basically, super badges are a way to reinvent your resume with skill-based Salesforce credentials. So if you're familiar with Trailhead and you've looked at the other videos, you know that you can get badges, Salesforce badges. As you see here, I have 70 badges. It's not a lot. I'm actually trying to work on more. But badges are not something that you necessarily can put in your resume. It's something that you can brag about. It's something that you can use to kind of say, "Oh, I have 70 badges. How many do you have? Oh, I have one badge." It's just kind of like to motivate you to keep working on badges and to connect with other people. But super badges are specifically to be used in your resume. It sounds something that you would necessarily not be doing, but hey, the world is changing, the job world is changing, the careers out there are changing. And Salesforce has built super badges to identify people that have these certain set of skills and how you can sell yourself when you go into an interview via your resume and having these type of super badges detailed out in your resume and have how the work that you've done at your company or at your consulting firm shows for that. So let's go down a little bit here. It shows about tackling real world problems, show what you can do, stand out from the pack, I apologize. And here there's a lot of different areas where you can leverage super badges for learners, for employers, how you can identify people that have these super badges, and how it fits into your resume. I know that there was a recent webinar about how you can use super badges to beef up your resume. I don't think there's a video here. As you can see here, there's different links and clickables. but I don't think there is a video here about how super badges are changing kind of like the resume building world and the career world. But I would highly recommend you Googling it, or going to YouTube and looking for Super Badges webinar. I think you'll be able to find the video there. I'm not going to go look for it right now, but if I do find the video, I will go ahead and uh, put a link in my description below of this video about the video to the Super Badges webinar. And I need to check it out myself. So I think it's a good thing that I'm talking about it now. I need to go check it out myself. I would recommend you checking it out and how Super Badges can help you in your career growth and development in the future. So that's what the Credential Super Badges section is all about. Now let's go into certifications. We're going to get a little bit deeper here about how Trailhead is a place where you can learn and develop your Salesforce skills. But once you do that, what does that mean? How can you use that in the real world? Well, that's where the certification section comes into play. So now we're here. Blaze new trails in your career. Again, I clicked on the certification section under credentials, and it takes us to this new page about understanding how certifications can change your career uh, development and path. Again, these are certifications. What are certifications? Certifications in Salesforce are what they sound like, certifications to show that you are a certified Salesforce professional in different aspects of the Salesforce ecosystem. They are globally recognized. You can put them in your LinkedIn profile, you can put them in your resume. If people search for you, which I'll be talking about next, they can verify that you have these certifications, and it shows that you have the knowledge to have gone take a certification exam, you have passed the certification exam, and you're someone reliable about your knowledge about Salesforce. There's a lot of professionals out there though that haven't gotten the certifications for one reason or another. You know, everybody's different, and that's all right. If someone doesn't have a certification, it doesn't mean that they don't know Salesforce. Someone might have 5 years of experience and they just haven't come around to getting the certification. I would urge them to take the first certification, but it doesn't mean just because someone doesn't have a certification does not mean that they do not know anything about Salesforce. So that's something that I've noticed just talking to people, um, and it's something that people are a little worried of to get the first certification. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but hey, you have 5 years of experience, you have 2 years of experience. Go and take your certification, get ready, prepare, take it, and it does make a difference in the long run. But enough of that. Let's continue on. So the question is, which certification should I take? Well, thankfully, that's why this section in Trailhead exists. It exists to kind of help you decide which certification to take depending on the path that you want to take. You have Salesforce consultants, you have Salesforce marketers, developers, architects, administrators. And there's a few more paths that are not here that I'll talk about shortly. But basically, if you're a consultant, Salesforce recommends these consultant credentials slash certifications. There's the Community Cloud Consultant certification. There's the Sales Cloud Consultant one. A very new one as of the recording this video is the Nonprofit Cloud Consultant. As you can see here, there's 7. And then what is a consultant? If you're not a consultant, if you're new to Salesforce, if you're a developer and maybe want to be a consultant, I think this is great content to help people out there understand what the things are that you need to know to then be a consultant. This here, right here, this tile is clickable, and I'll go to it shortly. And I'll show you another page of the Trailhead that is very useful to learn more about how to be a Salesforce consultant or a different Salesforce path. But let's move down here. You can earn your credential. You can schedule now when you want to take your exam. It's a exam proctored to the computer. You can go to an on-site test center or you can take it online. I normally like to take them at a test center because it's easy. Well, it's easy for me to go to a test center, sit down, and take the exam. Some people like to do it online because maybe the test center is not near anywhere they live. So sometimes taking it online is an option But for that, you will need to buy some cameras so that when you're taking the exam, you have some webcams placed in front and in back of you so that they can check that you're not cheating. And at a test center, obviously, it's a place where people can observe you while you're taking your exam to make sure that you're not cheating or breaking the rules of the certification process. And there's also news and offers. This is pretty cool too. And you can also verify that you have the credential, and we'll talk about that shortly next. But basically, this is really nice content to show what the certifications are that you could take to become an individual in that role. You see here that there's 4 for marketers. There are also 4 for developers. For Salesforce Architect, it's a little bit more complex, but basically, becoming a certified Salesforce architect is a long journey, but it's a journey that is well worth it. Um, Here, there's a kind of like a pyramid of the different certifications that you need to take that build up on each other to then you become a certified application architect or a certified system architect, and then being eligible to then take the certified technical architect exam. To take this exam, you need $6,000, and you heard that right, $6,000 is the fee to take the exam. And even before you can take the exam, not only do you need the $6,000, I believe you need to attend a workshop um, with other people that are looking to become technical architects. I believe it's a 2 day workshop. I might be wrong. And even before, I might have heard this incorrectly, but check me if you will. But even before being eligible to take the workshop or to take the exam, you have to have had 8 years of Salesforce experience. So as you can see, becoming a Salesforce architect is not easy, but it is well worth it. Um, Something to make note of is that to become a certified application architect, you don't have to take an exam to become a certified application architect or a certified system architect. You just need to have earned these credentials slash certifications below. Obviously, these ones at the bottom are optional to then be awarded the certified application architect. But to be awarded the certified technical architect, there's several steps. I set an exam, but it's a little tougher than that, but you'll get the hang of it once you get to that place. And if you do, well, congrats. I'm not there yet. I hope to be. But if you ever meet a certified technical architect, that's someone that I would really connect with and try to build a relationship with, and maybe they can help you reach that path for you as well. Below here, you see technical architect, application architect, system architect. I'm not going to click into these, but these are tiles, but there's a lot more than just these tiles to become an architect. So yeah, moving back up here, sorry for the rabbit hole there. Most of the people watching this video might not have a Salesforce administrator. I'm making an assumption there, but it's good to be learning about these career paths early in your career to know what you want to do. If you want to become a Salesforce administrator at a company, there are these certifications that are recommended. Obviously, the very first certification that a lot of people take is the administrator one. If you're a developer, you don't even have to take an administrator. You can take a developer certification, and that's fine. But the very first certification a lot of people get is the administrator. And in my previous video, I talked about how there's a trail mix to study for the administrator certification. If you go to my last video, you'll see that there's a link to that trail mix, and I talk about it at the very end of the video, so I highly recommend that. But yeah, basically, this is what this website offers. It offers you knowledge about how Salesforce and using Trailhead to advance your career um, development is possible. And being able to take these certification exams and to show what you can offer these major companies using Salesforce is super important and super valuable. And I'm super happy that Trailhead offers this website right here to kind of show people what the possibilities are. Now, you might be wondering, what does an administrator do? What does an architect do? What does a developer do, etc.? Well, that's why if you scroll down to the bottom, we talked about the credentials. Well, what is a Salesforce administrator? If you click on this tile, you'll see that it takes you to this other beautiful website And it tells you a little bit more about what a Salesforce administrator is. Here we have developer, we have a business analyst. I don't think that was in the previous page. You have a technical architect, which we talked about. You have a marketing manager. You have a sales manager, which was not on the previous page either. You have a service manager, not in the previous page either, and you have consultant. But if you click on any of these, it'll take you to the same format and it'll teach you a little bit more about what it means to be those type of roles. Let's stick with the sales administrator, just because I believe, like, as I said, making an assumption that a lot of people watching this video are getting started in their Salesforce ecosystem slash career slash journey. So let's start here. What is a Salesforce administrator? Obviously, you can read this. I am not going to read this, but from my perspective, working in the Salesforce world, a Salesforce administrator is someone that works at a company and is in charge of making sure that the Salesforce org or environment is up and running, that any changes that need to be made can be made. Any issues that might be encountered, the administrator can help. If new users need to be created, an administrator can help. Every company is going to be different in what the role of an administrator is. So just an FYI there. Every company is going to define what an administrator's job is. But basically, being a Salesforce administrator is a growing career job in the current economy as of 2019. And there's a lot more jobs opening up for Salesforce administrators throughout the country, throughout the world. So this is a great place to start, a great place to kind of build up your industry knowledge, depending on what company you work for, your Salesforce knowledge, and get started. And from there on, you can then decide if you want to become a developer, if you want to become an architect, if you want to become a business analyst, a consultant, so on and so forth. But yeah, it tells you here the average salary, the jobs last 12 months. That's a lot of jobs, to be honest, just for Salesforce administrators. That does not include the other options here, to be honest with you. Annual growth rate, that's pretty good for me, from in my perspective. Number of entry level roles, 39%, not too bad. If we scroll a little bit here, you'll see what the general business skills are to become a Salesforce administrator. Obviously, communication is super important. You need to be communicating with the business, you need to be communicating with your partners, you need to be communicating with other parts of the company to make sure that the Salesforce environment is what they need and that it works properly. Obviously, the next up for that is organization. You need to be very organized because a Salesforce environment is not organized if you're not organized. So that's a huge business skill that you need to have. Problem solving is also another piece of it. Attention to detail and project management. What are the specialized skills? Obviously, Salesforce is super important. You need to know Salesforce to be an administrator. You need to have kind of some sense of business processes. Um, that's because business processes at a company are super important. And if a company doesn't have well-defined business processes, then whenever you go to Salesforce and you start building system processes, then it might be a little bit tricky to try to figure out how you're going to build Salesforce system processes based on business processes that are not well defined. So something that I like to say and something that I like to share is that Salesforce is not going to fix a broken business process. Salesforce is there to support and automate to some degree and help um, a business process that is well defined. System processes cannot fix broken business processes. Business processes need to be well defined in order for a system, whether it's Salesforce or any other system out there, Siebel, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, Business Dynamics. These business processes need to be well defined in order for the system to support those business processes and to enable the jobs of those individuals, whether it's a salesperson, a marketing person, to do their job in a more efficient manner. So that's something that I like to say. And it's a huge life lesson or work lesson that I've learned. Data management, you need to care about your data. You need to care about your system administration, your system and network configuration, and your data validation. Data validation is making sure that um, if you have a um, if you have a name field, such as a first name, that people are not typing in numbers. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe there's parts of the world where people use numbers in their name, and that's their name. But make sure that data validation allows you to make sure that people are not typing in a phone number in first name field. And that's part of the job here. Moving along, we see a day in the life of a Salesforce administrator. What they do at 9 a.m., what they do at 10 a.m., what they do at 11 a.m., and so on, what they do at 12 p.m. Actually, I think they just revamped this. I think before it was very 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now they give you hour by hour, which is pretty nice. Gives you more detail to what actually a Salesforce administrator is doing. And yeah, it ends at 5 p.m., which is good, right? You have your 8 to 5 job. Sometimes you're gonna have to work a little bit extra, but that's what differentiates a good Salesforce administrator to anything else out there. And then we have some inspiring stories here that we'll talk about shortly from Toya Gatewood, Scott Lucart, and Shauna Hughes. So Shauna Hughes is someone awesome in the Salesforce ecosystem. She, I believe, is the co-founder of a company called PepUp. PepUp is another great way to get started with Salesforce. I will go ahead and put a link in the description below to PepUp if you're interested to learn more about what PepUp is. It might help you in your career, or maybe it's you're someone that is a Salesforce professional that wants to give back to the community. I think PepUp is a great way to give back to the community. So I'll stop there. And if we scroll a little bit down here, kind of lets you know how to get started with your career. You can learn, earn, connect, so on and so forth. So that's basically the section here. I'm not going to go to the rest of them. If I go to the consultant one, just to kind of give you very high level again, very similar understanding of what being a Salesforce consultant is, the general skills, the specialized skills, the day by day. As I mentioned, I think they revamped this. It's pretty neat and kind of shows you other people that are consultants in their stories. So with that said, let's move on to the next section of Trailhead about how you can leverage your career, and that is with Verify certification. So we talked about this a little bit, maybe a few minutes ago, about once you get a certification, you can verify that you have the certification. You can also verify what your current status is for your certifications. You can use this to get an email in return saying how up to date you are on your certifications. Now, I don't think I talked about this, but when you take a certification exam and you pass, bam, you have a certification exam. Let's say I go and take the Salesforce Administrator certification exam and I pass. Great. It's a one-time exam, but how do you maintain your certification? Obviously, like a doctor, you become a doctor. But if you're not learning, if you don't keep learning on how to become a doctor or what a doctor does, then you're not doing anybody any good. You're a doctor, that you have your degree and you've passed your exams to become a certified medical specialist slash doctor. But if you're not up to date in the newest and hottest trends in the medical world, then you're not doing anyone any favors. Same thing with Salesforce. You take the exam, you pass the exam once, and you need to maintain these certifications. And you do that by taking maintenance exams. I'm going to go ahead and leave a description below, another link in the description below about maintenance exams. But basically, there's 3 maintenance exams. I call them exams, but Salesforce is changing that a little bit. I'll talk about that shortly. On how to, there's different ways on how to maintain your certification, and there's 3 of them every year. The reason that there's 3 is that Salesforce releases new Salesforce updates every 3 times every year. So on that same schedule, you need to make sure that you're up to date on the new upgrades and cool things that Salesforce is building within their platform. So here, if I provide my email, and I think I gave you a little view to my email, so I might cut that out. You'll be able to submit your email, get a response back, and you'll see if you're up to date in your certification exams. The next up is verify a Salesforce Credential professional. So for example, here, if I submit my name and I click search, we have a reCAPTCHA here. Salesforce is all about security. And ta-da, it returns my name. If it finds people with different names, it'll kind of give you their location, where they are in the world. And if you click on the drop down, you'll see the different certifications that the individual has. For example, here I have 6 certifications. It'll tell you the name of the certification. It gives a cool little image, and it gives you the date that it was earned. You can print this, you can add it to LinkedIn, etc. But this is how you verify if someone is actually a Salesforce professional certified, per se. But that's about it on that section. Now, last but not least is the Trailblazers tab. If I click on this Trailblazers tab, this is a way for Salesforce to kind of give credit to the people out there that are trailblazers. A trailblazer is someone that is recognizing the community as someone that is making a difference one way or another. There's a lot of Salesforce trailblazers out in the world in the community, and they are unique to what they do. There's a cool video here that I would highly recommend. I'm not going to put a link because the video is here, and I am sure that you'll be able to find it. But basically, it kind of broadcasts the the idea that being a trailblazer is something awesome. Um, I think you were in this little cool jacket, and if you hover over some of these, you get to see some of their quotes, right? So Swati Taung says the beauty of Trailhead is that it works equally well for seasoned Salesforce enthusiasts as it does for the newbies. So, and that's very true. And that's why I'm putting this video together to kind of help you navigate Trailhead and what it means and how you can leverage it. She's a Salesforce lead at DaysWorks Technologies, private Ltd. This is a huge, actually, DaysWorks is a cool company. I have a couple of connections that work at DaysWorks in India. Great company, highly recommended. It seems over here that we have another DaysWorks employee, Shamil Madhusanka. Shout outs to them. And yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see people over the world. You can explore more stories. You can find people over the world. You can tweet at them. You can get to know a little bit more about the Trailblazer community. But that's about it. I'll go ahead and, as I mentioned in the video, link the different. I'll put the different links in the description below. And thank you for your time. Yeah, if you have any questions, please go ahead and comment on the video below. If you like the video, please like it. If you have any suggestions, again, that's a comment below. Subscribe, as I'll be creating more videos as time goes on to kind of help you get started with your Salesforce career. And hope to meet you in person. And have a good day. Thank you. Bye.